Hello, and welcome to episode 187 of The Joy of Coding. My name's Mike Conley. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late today. There was a minor technical foul up with the repeater. I want to thank Andy from the Airmo team for really just sort of diving in and helping me out with that. Thank you, Andy. You're the best. And thank you, all you patient viewers who are still tuned in 23 minutes after the hour. Despite the fact that we're starting late, you're still here. I really appreciate that. So hi, I've been away for a while, not just these 23 minutes, but also for like a week. And before that, I was also gone away for a week. Like there was a little bit of a holiday break and then there was an episode in between. But I'm back now, and hopefully I'm back with like a semi-regular schedule. So let's get started. Enough yakking, let's get to it. Yeah, it's August 28th. Episode 187. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I don't really know what's going to happen today. I have a sense of what I want to work on and what I want to do, but whether or not it actually works out, we shall see. So none of this is pre-planned. None of it's really pre-scripted. Things might go wrong. I might get stuck. That's okay. That's all part of the game. I'm capturing software development as it really is in the raw. So that's what's going on here. That's the first thing. The second thing is the agenda that we're looking at is something you have access to. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the video description down below. On Airmozilla, pow, it's in the handout section over here. And in Twitch, well, I'm about to drop the link in the Twitch chat so you can check it out. Here you go, Twitch folk. Agenda. There's also an episode guide. I want to recommend the episode guide if you're curious, if you're watching this episode in the future, if it's sometime after August 20th, 2019, and you want to know what I covered, you can go to the episode guide and, look at the things that I covered. You can look at previous episodes and the things that I covered. And if you yourself want to contribute to the episode guide, because it's a repository that anyone can contribute to, and I will happily merge in pull requests, you can send patches to the episode guide, and I'll just merge them in. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about when I say that, there are links here in the agenda on how to send a pull request, how to contribute. I believe, I need to update the link. I need to update the link here because the link is actually contributing. This is the real link. I need to update this link. Contributing guide. And if you're not sure how to create a pull request, this is a really great guide that SmurfD recommends on how to create a pull request that SmurfD uses and recommends. So what do I want to work on today? Well, if you may or may not be familiar with this fission thing that's been going on, this is a long duration project that I've been working on with a couple of other people off and on. And it has to do, it's similar to electrolysis. Electrolysis was this project where we put tabs so that the tabs would run in their own content processes. And fission is like the next logical step of electrolysis, where we now want to make iframes run in their own processes. Specifically, third-party iframes or cross-domain iframes should run in their own processes, so they're process isolated. And that's great. One of the things that we get as a result of having out-of-process iframes is, let me show you. I think I've got a recent artifact build here. I can show you us crashing an iframe. I think that'll be fun. Let me show you that in just a sec. One moment. Let me make sure I've got... Actually, I know that I have got a build here that's up to date, so I don't need to do that. So let me show you this crashing iframe business. I've got another binary build going in the background, but in the foreground I'm using an artifact build because the patches that allowed Subframe crashing to work again landed in Nightly not that long ago. Okay, so here we have a couple of subframes. These are actually running out of process right now. If I right click on the subframe, I can get this frame menu, and it tells me that this is process 24182. And the tab is running in process 24051. So I've got, these are all running in their own separate process. I'm going to try and kill that process 24182. So let's see here. Let's open up a terminal. My machine is freaking out because I'm doing a binary build, but I'm going to say abort, send the abort signal. Actually, I'm going to do sig kill just because I don't need to create a crash report. 24182. 24182. And that causes all of these subframes to get the sad face. That's what we want. That's the good thing. And this, we had this working a while ago, then it broke, and then it was working again, and then it broke again. And so when that happens, when you've got something that's kind of breaking and then getting fixed again, this is an indication that you should probably have a regression test. You know, this thing... Oh, Andy, don't apologize. You helped me out. It's all good. It is not a problem, Andy. Thank you so much for helping me out. Let's see here. So we actually have a regression test in the tree to test this case. It landed actually before we got the patch in that fixed the problem. We had the test written in parallel. We just kept it disabled. But the problem is that the test, it's like this is what happens whenever a test and a patch land independently, like the test that tests the fix and the fix that lands independently, is that, you know, the test was written first and it landed, and its assumptions aren't exactly correct anymore. So the way that it expected the subframe to crash doesn't apply. It's not true anymore. Those assumptions are not correct. So the test actually hangs. Let me show you. Browser, iframe. Browser, iframe. Where is it? Tests, DOM, IPC tests, browser, where is it? Oh, there it is. Browser, crash, out of process iframe. So we're going to run this. I don't think I have to test it with fission enabled because the test does that automatically. So let's see what happens when I run this test. Meanwhile, I've got that build running in the background, and I believe I'm using not SC cache anymore, but just normal C cache. Yeah, and that means that I think I'm getting faster builds. C cache. Oh. Yeah, I'm hitting the cache a lot more, about half the time, so that's good. All right, run the test. So it opens a window, and what just happened? Test exited. The operation failed for some reason. So this is the problem: is that like we kill the tab, and then like an operation failed for an operation specific reason, and then the test fails for reasons that are completely unclear. So that's what I'm hoping we can look at today. We can try and investigate this a little bit. The operation failed for an operation-specific reason. What does that mean? Let's start there. Let's try and figure out what this really opaque error message means. So that didn't result. Okay, here we go. Operation error. NS error, DOM operation error. So when that is returned, this is the string that is, oh, for web crypto. Web crypto. Crazy. Operation error. So that gets fired inside of like crypto stuff. Oh, and inside JS window actor. Receive query reply. And presentation. And data channel. I got a feeling here, receive query reply. If pending queries, remove. So if a JS window actor receives query result, otherwise everything went wrong. Who calls receive query reply? Receive raw message. Well, that could only be one of either query resolve or query, so it must be reject. Must be reject. Why would the query have rejected? Receive raw message with the metadata. Structure clone. Message to parent, message to parent, actor. All right. So it seems like some kind of, if I had to guess, the promise, like the connection goes down, the frame is crashed, and a promise is rejected. It'd be nice to know which test or which promise was rejected. Let's see if we can find it. Maybe it's one of our own, like, let's open up the editor here. Oh, yeah, and I had commented out a bunch of stuff. I forgot that. So let's actually go back to the original case here, or like the original test. Let's run without all those things. Yeah, Smurf's like a tu brute, Shakespeare quotes in the gecko info error. Yeah, that's something that we log whenever we kill a content process intentionally in tests. So when we like intentionally crash a content process, we log a tu brute for Shakespeare reasons. All right. So when we run the test normally, we get the crash subframe like this, and then we just kind of hang out. And then here's our uncaught promise, and we hang out, and then there are all these errors, but the crash cleaned up. Okay, and here's the chunk of Shakespeare. Although, believe it or not, that's not the actual quote. That is a misattributed, or what is it? It's not actually what's said in Caesar. That's from Caesar. It's not his last thing. The last thing he says. The last thing he says is "Then fall, Caesar," but he does say it just before. Like, I think the idea is like these are the last words before the content process goes down. But we should probably have put "Then fall, Caesar" after a tu brute. Oh well. Let's figure out why, like what we're waiting for and what's going on. Well, one of the things that I think has changed is that we no longer fire this event, this OOP browser crashed event. I believe that no longer gets fired if we actually crash. Let's just double check that. Maybe notify crashed. Browser parent actor destroy. Frame loader. What I need to look at is the patch that landed that makes it so that browsing contexts. Yeah, destroy browsing context from crash process. This is the patch that landed that actually allowed the subframes to crash. So I want to understand how it works, if I can. So one of the things that Andreas Farr did is he got rid of the old subframe crash stuff, which is fine. That I reviewed that, so got rid of that. Didn't need this stuff anymore. So that we can ignore. Elsewhere, what happened was a new function was added, pre-order walk and post-order walk. These helper functions were added. And then in NS frame loader owner. Where are we here? Inside of change of remoteness. So I wonder if that's what would occur, is like if you change remoteness because you crashed. Like you'll enter here if you crash, is you'll change remoteness and you'll say that an error was passed, and then we'll just load about blank and then get the doc shell for the frame loader and display the type of load error. Okay. And in that case, receive subframe crash. And this happens inside of frame loader owner change remoteness. And then in browser bridge child, we receive that a subframe crash. What do? We get the frame loader owner and we say, hey, change remoteness. And we pass in the error, NS frame, error frame crashed. Okay. So the whole bubbling up of the OOP browser crashed event no longer occurs. So I think we should remove this part. This event makes no sense. Like, this isn't going to fire anymore. The reason it used to fire was because whenever the actor was destroyed, maybe we would normally fire it. Actor destroy, maybe notify crashed. Oh, we have an OOP frame loader crashed. So why isn't that observer why isn't that event fired? I thought, now I'm confused. So on subframe crash, what will occur? Do a post order walk and we'll send a message to each parent in the group, send cache browsing context children, and then send attached browsing context, and then tell all of them to show the subframe crashed. Okay. Part of, I think what'll help here is if we look at the diagram, there's this really excellent diagram of all these bits and pieces here. So we have like the bridge parent. So in this case, we are the browser parent. Browser parent, so we're either one of these or one of, like this one or this one. We're running in the parent process. We're the browser parent, we're running in the parent process. And someone called on subframe crashed, and that was here. When we receive the IPC message that the actor was destroyed for abnormal reasons, for an abnormal shutdown, we'll say, hey, one of our subframes has crashed. If the browsing context is not top content, okay. If it's discarded, return. Get the child ID. So we're gonna find the process that belongs to the subframe that just crashed. We're gonna get the parent of our browsing context. We're gonna get the embedder process. So this is the process that just crashed. No, the process of the parent. Got it. We're gonna get our own manager. So this is the process that has just apparently crashed. We're going to set the owner process ID of our set the owner process of a browser context belonging to a crash process to the parent context process. Okay, so we're changing the ownership around because the subframe has crashed, but we still want to show something in that region. So we're going to change the ownership so that the browsing context now belongs to the embedder process. Find all same process subtree nodes and detach them. Cache all other nodes in the subtree. We're going to detach them. So yeah, if the crashing frame had a whole bunch of subframes themselves, we're going to detach them. Because those subframes might still be alive, but we're going to get rid of them. We'll never detach the root node of the subtree since we changed the owner process to be different from process ID. Okay. Right, we go through all of the context to see if it's owned by, if any of them are owned by the one that just crashed, and if so, we'll detach. Okay, and then when all that's done, we get the browser bridge parent. That's this thing. There's like a one-to-one relationship. It's the browser bridge parent. It will be associated with like so A browser child. There's an iframe and A. Loads B, the browser bridge child, browser bridge parent, has a browser parent, and that loads the actual A or B.com in here, and then that has its own iframe back to A, which is connected to this browser bridge parent, which, okay, I understand. So the browser bridge parent after we've done all of the like walking around and detaching, we're going to tell the browser bridge parent up here, the thing in the parent process that's associated with the subframe, to send the subframe crashed. We're going to send subframe crashed from the browser bridge parent to the browser bridge child, but that's now going to exist in the other process because we just changed the owner. Right. So here when we receive it, we're going to change the remoteness to be NS error frame crashed. And so we load about blank, and we display the load error. Okay. Okay. I think I get it. Now, so the first question is, though, why did the OOP browser crashed event not fire? That is important for me. I do care about knowing about that. I want to know why that didn't fire. So one thing we can do is make sure that it's not actually firing. We have code that runs when OOP browser crashed fires. Let's make sure it's not firing and that we don't accidentally, it's not like we're missing it or something, because that I suppose could also happen. So let us go to the code where we have our event listener. We're going to log tab browser.js saw OOP browser crashed event. Okay, let's run that again. Missing the cache a lot lately. Like, notice this number going up. Okay. Oh, so we do, it does fire. It does fire. So actually we are firing it. That's good. Which is good. Like that's what I expected. I would have been really confused if it wasn't fired, but I actually for some reason assumed it wasn't getting fired anymore. I'm gonna close a bunch of these files. These don't need these all open. Don't save. Don't save. Don't save. Don't save. Don't save. Don't save. Don't need any of these things. Don't. Nope. 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 Okay. I want to go back to the test browser. Oh, SmurfD also wants to point out there's a new Firefox developer icon today in Firefox Developer Edition. Very nice. And new Thunderbird, version 68 of Thunderbird came out. Keep on rocking the free web there, Thunderbird. Fun fact, I used to work on Thunderbird for a living. So I'm actually going to add more logging. I'm going to say waiting for crashed event. Oh yeah, top frame browsing context ID not expected. OP frame browsing context ID expected. Yep. Wait for new browsing context to get attached. So this is where we're going wrong. Is when we wait for the condition, we're gonna get all of the children. We wait until it's not the iframe browsing context. So I think we actually, this is where things go wrong. I think we actually reuse the browsing context. I don't think a new one gets created. Await, get children. So let's get rid of this for now, just to see. And now see if it passes. I doubt it will pass. Nice. So that failed because, and then we got our promise failure here. Wait for new browsing context to get attached to our OOP page, or OOP iframe, and then we fail out here. Maybe because of the special powers spawn. Maybe this is what's failing. We can't communicate with the crashed iframe, maybe? Let's check this out. Hang on a second. Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna set a debugger statement there. We're gonna run this again with the JS debugger. And we're gonna start examining browsing context information each step along the way in this test. How my builds? A lot of cache missing still. Cache miss. All right. Debugger server set up. All right. Did you see that? There's like DOM mutation breakpoints now in the debugger. That's great. Okay, so let's take a look at what information we have. I'm gonna get a console up here. Fun fact, hitting escape in the debugger gives you a console at the bottom. It's very nice. So what is the iframe browsing context? Yep, at example.com, and the ID is 858993459. Great. Now let us crash it. And let's step through to here. Oh, you know what? That's because I waited too long, because I set the breakpoint. Oh, you know what? Set the breakpoint here. The crashed OOP browser crashed event happened before I could set the event breakpoint. I need to basically restart this, but before I do that, browser.browsing context. Can I do that? What do I have here? Browser. What scope am I in? Oh man. All right. I think I'm stuck basically. Let's start over. And the toolbox works today. That's right. That's very satisfying on the days when the browser toolbox works. That's the sound I like to make when the browser toolbox works. It is a critical tool. Okay. We hit our debugger. So I'm going to set the breakpoint to here instead. So we should hit that. Yeah, okay, good. Now let's open up our console. Oh, I never found out what the ID iframe bc.id. Okay, that was the ID. Not defined getter. ID. There we go. And now what do I want to do? I want to look at the root browsing context. Get children. There's one. So it's still the same. It's still the same browsing context because the IDs are still the same. And I think that's actually intentional. I think we're reusing it. Current window global is in process false. Can I get like the document? URI spec. About frame crashed. That's probably good enough. If I can just get the document URI spec. Trying to talk to the, like, this is what I think is screwing up. This trying to message this iframe. Though I don't know why it should, but it is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of, we're not going to get a new browsing context. We're going to use the old browsing context. We don't need that anymore. We're talking to the old browsing context. We're going to get your document URI. I expect this to still fail with that promise error, but just let's just double check. How my build at? Still compiling, but we're through. What did we get through? Network. Just compiling some media stuff now. That's great.
It's me, Mario.
Okay. So yeah, really not happy about it, but we get through. Now what happens if I do this? Do the promise failures go away? I got a feeling for some reason, as soon as we try and communicate with that iframe that's in this broken state, it's gonna be it's in a bad way. Excuse me. Yeah, that one it's happy with. So it's somewhere in here. As soon as we try and talk to the content with special powers spawn, like let's just get rid of this one chunk and just try and run nothing. Can we just run nothing using special powers spawn? Iframe BC. Just do nothing. Don't even return a thing. I expect that to fail. Danny Colin wants to talk about Thunderbird. Here's a first mock-up of a UX redesign project. You can follow and join in the conversation here. Oh, that's really excellent. I'm going to put those links in the agenda. Ooh. Looks photon-y. Very nice. Very nice. I would use this email client. Who is working on this? I'm curious. Well, we shall see. Yeah. As soon as we try and talk to it, it screws up. So special powers spawn, no bueno. Now let's see if that's the case if I just try and talk to it directly using one of our like actors, like let actor equal iframe bc dot current window global dot get actor. There was one that we created specially for browser test utils. Let's try and talk to it. What's the name of the actor? Browser test utils, of course. Actors send async message. Hello? Let's see if that fails. And oh, I'm gonna do that one first. Yeah, I'll do that one first. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to spawn, here I'm gonna put Danny Colin's links in here. Thunderbird news. Thunderbird news version 68 came out today. New design in the works. New design underway. So link that. I know nothing about what's going on in Thunderbird land. You can join the conversation here. there's apparently a Twitter. Someone on Twitter. Okay. We got our crash there. Let's see what happens. Web design development. So this is the person. Oh, lead UX architect on Moz Thunderbird. Very cool. Lead developer at Ritual Music. Neat. So this is the person who's doing the work. Lead UX architect. So lead UX architect on Twitter. Booyah shaka. I'm going to shut down Slack. Okay. So iframe current window global is what? Current window global is null. Aha. Browsing context. Here, let's set a debugger there and let's mess around. Still going through media stuff. Building, building, building. See, part of the problem is that I hadn't built in a while, so a lot of my cache is just invalid. So my cache is being invalidated like crazy. Although I'm getting a remarkable cache hit rate, given that it was like a week since I pulled or something. So that's pretty remarkable. Excuse me. Okay, runs a test. Okay, we have hit our breakpoint. Let's do some analysis. iframe BC. This is the iframe that currently is the one that crashed. Current window global exists. What's your problem? Document URI spec. Okay, current window global. Get actor browser test utils. Let A equal that. A send async message test. Okay. How about send query? Okay. Well, that's never actually going to get handled. Iframe BC. Left unexpected window property, timeout threshold. So I wonder if there's a little bit of a race there. You know, the current window global isn't set up on time. So one thing we could do is, okay, I have an idea. We're gonna wait for browser test utils, wait for condition, return iframe bc.current window global. And then we can get the document URI. Let's see what that does. Yeah, for the folks who are chatting about Thunderbird, I agree that that looks great. You know, it looks really modern. And I like the idea of the sidebar, taking up more of that, like trying to trim down all of the bloat at the top and maybe taking some space on the left side. I think that's a great idea. It just looks fresh. I would use that email client. Hey, all right. So that passes. Now this, we might have to talk about the crashed event comes out, and we wait for the current window global to get set up. Maybe there's another thing we can do instead, because I know that there's like a load error page. Maybe error page. True, this uses DOM content load event instead of load event. Also, want load will be called with visible URL. If maybe error page, then we wait for DOM content loaded event. Or maybe one thing we could do is wait for, will a load event fire? Will it bubble up? Like any of our network error pages, how do they work? Like the tests for them. Page loaded. Wait for error page. That's what I was thinking of. Oh, so that fires a very special event when the network error page loads. That's not what I want. Okay, well, never mind. What I could do instead is what am I going to do here? I want to wait until about frame crash is loaded. Let's see if a DOM content loaded gets fired. What is the page that's getting loaded? Remote. Open a browser window. Remote. Load about blank. Load URI. What's the URL? About blank. We add an iframe. Vision. Okay. So let's see. Add event content. Add event listener. DOM content loaded. Dump. Top level frame saw DOM content loaded. Ooh, going through graphics. Harf buzz. You know, I don't think that this build's going to be done in time to do anything useful, and I don't think I'm going to need it, actually. I think we figured out more or less what the problem is, or at least what some ideas of what to do. So I'm going to stop the build for now and reclaim some CPU to speed up the rest of this process. All right. So what happened? Did we see a DOM content loaded? No. How about if we capture DOM content loaded capturing? Would we see it in the capturing phase? Nope. What about on the outer window? There's no way this is going to work, but let's try it anyways. Iframe, content window. Isn't that the is that the API? Iframe dot content window. Let's just double check. Here's an iframe. Content window, yeah, not just content. All right, iframe dot content window add event listener DOM content loaded. I don't think this is going to work, but let's just check. I just don't want to have to poll if I don't need to. Is what I'm doing all this for. Oh, something exploded. Iframe content window is null. Oh, because it hasn't actually loaded yet. Yeah, all right. And that one fails because add event listener permission denied on cross origin object. Okay, so can't do that. Can't do that. We might just have to wait. The browsing context just is reused, but the current window global might still be getting set up at this point. We poll to wait until it's created and available. Okay, let's check that out. All right, so that works. Let's run the test with verify, make sure we're happy. Make sure we're happy, then we'll push the whole thing to try and call it a day. Wonder if it happens on Mac too. Okay, I noticed a strange bug with fission under Linux, says Danny Colon. For example, if I switch from an MDN tab and go back to it, the iframe is empty and I need to reload the page. I've seen that as well. I believe that there are lots of known bugs, especially with graphics. But it might be worth filing just in case. And the place to file fission bugs, maybe I'll pause this playback of this test. It's like found a fission bug. You can file new issues blocking this meta bug. So the meta bug is called bug fission dog fooding. If you are testing out fission, you can file blocking bugs against this meta bug, and they will be triaged, and they will be taken very seriously because fission is a big deal. So there you go. So this is looking pretty good. If this works out, I'm going to push to try and then also put a patch up for review, and then I'm going to call it a day. Or at least call it a day during the stream. I'm going to keep working, but I will call the stream a day. Almost there. Almost there. All right. So let's take a look at the patch itself. Oh, there's one last thing we have to do. We have to tell the test framework to actually run the tests now. We have to get rid of the skip directive. DOM IPC tests browser ini crash. I'm going to re-enable that. Cool. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run, not with verify, but I'm going to enable fission as well and make sure this all still works with fission enabled. Even though the test does it, I want to make sure, like the test forces us to run with an out of process iframe. I just want to double check that this will all work with the fission pref set. Yeah, it does. Okay. So looking at the diff. Okay. So I'm going to reuse this bug that was filed. Subframe crashing is broken again, I believe is the name of the Fare is done answering that question. Enable subframe crashing regression test by default, or not by default, just I'm just going to enable it. I should connect all the right things. Bug such and such landed, which and bugs which fixed subframe crashing, and that's a sentence fragment because I want to talk about this bug first. Bug such and such landed, which added a new subframe crashing test, and a little while later, bug such and such landed, which actually fixed subframe crashing. Which added a new subframe crashing test disabled by default. This patch modifies the test to better match what happens now when subframes crash, and also enables the test by default. This patch I'm about to post. Okay. So, enable, what was it called? Browser crash OOP. I'll just call it enable subframe crashing regression test. And then I'm going to ask Abdullah for review and Fare. Abdullah, who originally wrote the test. So I actually think I should add a little context to the commit message. Whoa, looks like linting's happening. Some auto linting, but everything looks like it's okay. Well, that's good. And now I'm going to add my commit message. My commit message is the test originally assumed that the browsing contexts for the crashing frame would get destroyed and replaced with a new one. Having read through, what is the bug? Destroy browsing contexts. What? Yeah, like I would just want to double check here. What happens if we don't destroy the browsing context? Instead, we change its remoteness. And when we change its remoteness, browsing frame layer destroy and process preserving its browsing context. Yeah, we should preserve browsing context. Okay, so we're preserving. It looks like we probably we return true from here. And we preserve the browsing context. Having read through some of bug, though, it looks as if we preserve the browsing context and after the subframe crashes. So I've modified the test to skip that check. It also looks like we have to wait until the current window global, the window global parent, is created asynchronously from the about blank load that's initiated in the content process before we can query the subframe for its current location. So I've added a wait for condition for that. All right. So let's push that up for review, and let's also push it up to try. Mock try. I'm gonna use, what am I gonna use today? What do I want to use? Let's try mock try. Which one have you seen me use? Have you seen me use mock try fuzzy? Probably not. Let's try mock try fuzzy today. Oh, we can actually do it with an artifact build as well, because we only changed the test, so we can get our test results back sooner. Come on now, mock try fuzzy. I would have had to, like, yeah, it's got to generate the list of targets. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, so this is the mock try fuzzy interface. I'm going to build for Win32, or basically I just want to run all of the Moki test browser Chrome tests, but not on shippable builds, not on QR builds, not on ASAN or CCOV builds. Yeah, basically everyone else. So do that. I'm also going to want to do it with fission enabled. How do I do fission enabled here? Fission? Fizz? Oh, looks like it's already on. Great. I enabled them. Oh, I didn't enable these ones because they're QR. Great. So I have everything I want selected. I press enter. We're going to push to try. Then while we're waiting for that, I'm going to switch over to this terminal. I'm going to, oh, I haven't activated my key, so hold on. But I can also push this to try, right? What's on tip? Yeah, Moz, Fab, Submit, Tip. And over here, add my key. So that's my way of disguising what I just typed in case people are doing crazy audio hacking, and then try again. And let's make sure both of these go out, and then I'm going to call the episode done. So that goes up for review. I'm going to say, hey, Fare, I know you didn't work on this test, but I just wanted to double check that it's correct that the browsing context is supposed to be recycled, preserved, recycled after the subframe crash. The browsing context for the crashing subframe is supposed to be recycled after the crash. And 2, I can actually do that with these hashes, I think. The current window global needs to be pulled for yeah. So that's done. That's been pushed. Folks, we did it. Thank you so much for watching episode 187 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. I've got a patch up that we wrote today. We kind of fiddled with the test and we got it working again. So now hopefully we will get a regression test in that's enabled that makes sure that subframe crashing does not break ever again. That is the hope. Also, there was some news about Thunderbird that's very exciting, but also Firefox Developer Edition has a new icon, and we're very, very close, I think, to the next release date. Now let's check out the release calendar. The next release is September 2nd. So in just a couple of days, we get a new release. Pretty exciting. Oh, sorry, no, the release date is actually on September 3rd, but the merge date's September 2nd. So release date, September 3rd. Exciting. All right, well, with that, thank you so much for watching episode 187 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. Click on the link in the agenda to rate the episode and give me some feedback. Tell me how things went and whether or not it was an awesome episode or an awful episode or somewhere in between. Sorry again if you were waiting for me to start exactly on time at 1 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully the repeater behaves next week. I'll do my best to not screw it up. Fingers crossed. And with that, let's call it. So, without further ado, take care. Bye-bye. See you next week. See ya.